Ascension 7 15 1 2 2 19 7 7 25 6 6 11 25 14.
We live in a world where everything you know is wrong.
12
Because you
21
do not
6
exist.
7 21 6.
Call of Duty Black Ops. It's hard to believe, but this game will be 14 years old this year, which is funnily almost exactly the age I was when this game came out. I vividly remember the midnight release for this game, with my mom even letting me skip school the next day. Pulling up to GameStop with my friends and seeing a line full of equally excited and like-minded people, the feeling was just incredible. Being the follow-up to the global phenomenon that was Modern Warfare 2, all eyes were on Treyarch and their new game, Call of Duty Black Ops. Black Ops brought many changes and new additions to the series as a whole, and spawned a whole line of sequels still being made today. Now, for those of you who weren't into Call of Duty back then, the yearly releases were much different than now. It almost felt like a rivalry between the developers. Treyarch felt like the underdog of the two at this point, and they released Black Ops with something to prove. I think this competitiveness in game development gave us better games overall, with each release feeling unique to what came before it. The differences of the franchises can be understood by listening to these lines from the two games back to back.
History is written by the victor, and here I am thinking we'd won.
Just because they write it down and call it history doesn't make it the truth.
Treyarch obviously did the most to separate themselves from the Modern Warfare series, but did it work? And were the innovations brought to the series worthwhile? While I won't answer these questions just yet, I will say that after replaying this game as an adult, I found many details that I never properly appreciated or noticed in my younger days. Let me share them with you and let me know if you learned something new like I did from this deep dive, or let me know what I missed. Let's take a step back and relive the story and experience that is Call of Duty Black Ops. First of all, let's just settle that during this time, Treyarch had the best intro scenes. After these intro videos play, we're greeted to probably the best menu screen in the series. While restrained to a chair, the player is faced with multiple screens. Those on the right show real-life footage and some game footage, while the main screen on the left shows your options of campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. While browsing this menu screen, it is possible to look around and even escape the chair by pressing both triggers a few times. While free, you can look around the room and even log on to a computer that sits behind the player. I will cover this computer more later. For now, let's dig into the campaign. The Modern Warfare series centered around a main character who is given the information they need to understand context. You know who you are, and you know the people around you, and you know what you're doing. Black Ops did the very opposite by giving the player very little information and leaves the context of the story hazy until the payoff towards the end of the game that brings clarity along with an amazing plot twist. Starting the campaign picks up right from this main menu. The shadows behind the glass start asking the player questions. Our character comes to confused and asking where Reznov is.
Where's Reznov?
You will answer our questions. Do you understand?
Our interrogators ask us a few questions like our name and place of birth, which we respond with a hearty
Fuck you!
Where were you born?
Kiss my ass!
The shadows then persuade us into answering by shocking us. These shadows reveal they already know the answers to many of their questions, and reveal to the player that our name is Alex Mason, and that we were a part of a CIA assassination team titled OP40. Mason stops answering their questions and receives some more encouragement before verifying what the shadows are saying. Once they confirm that Mason remembers being a team member of OP40, they start asking questions about a man named Dragovich and where Numbers broadcast station is. Mason states he doesn't know anything about any numbers. As he says this, the TV monitors begin flashing different numbers, and audio starts playing of a person reading numbers. The shadows shock us one last time and decide to start at the beginning of the story, the Bay of Pigs.
Let's start at the beginning. Cuba, 1961, the Bay of Pigs. We know you were there.
I've got to say, one thing I really appreciate about Treyarch's games set in the past is how they use real-world events to create their fictional storylines in. Like, although this story is made up, it isn't based on fake people or events. There are currently over 600 real-life documented attempts to assassinate or overthrow Fidel Castro, at least according to Cuba. Take a look at some of the newspapers and pictures from that time period while I explain what the Bay of Pigs was. Now keep in mind, I wasn't alive during all this. I was not present in Cuba when this was happening. This information is what I could find during my research, so while there may be some truth to it, it may not be the whole truth. Remember, if you ever think to yourself,
My government wouldn't do that.
just look at what they admit to, and imagine what they don't take ownership of. Alright, conspiracies aside, the Bay of Pigs was an attempt by the US government to overthrow communist Cuba. Cuba and US relations have been declining with sanctions and tensions mounting on both sides. The plan to overthrow Castro was originally developed under President Eisenhower, but was pushed forward by President Kennedy. Cuban exiles who left Cuba following Castro's takeover became Brigade 2506, which gained support of the US military. 60 members of the Alabama Air National Guard joined and began training the brigade in Guatemala. In April of 1961, Brigade 2506 made their assault on Cuba. Cuban airfields were supposed to have been softened up from a bombing campaign that happened 2 days earlier. The CIA used obsolete World War II bombers that were painted to look like Cuban aircraft. These out-of-date aircrafts missed a majority of their targets, and as news broke of the attack, photos of the repainted US planes became public, showing that America had supported the invasion. The ground forces were sent in with insufficient ammunition and equipment and were held back by the Cuban military. This unsuccessful invasion led to hundreds being executed, and the survivors of the invasion being used as a bargaining tool for Castro. He eventually agreed to let the prisoners leave Cuba in exchange for $53 million worth of baby food and medicine for his country, solidifying his hero status to those loyal to him. These acts also pushed Cuba closer to the Soviet Union, setting the stage for the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It's been a while.
In the Black Ops universe, Mason along with Woods and Bowman meet with their Cuban contact in the country the night before the attack begins. Music can be heard playing in the bar as the screen fades from black.
He will be in here. The plantation. My old plantation. Our attack on the airfield should distract them enough to get you inside.
What about the evac?
We will have
The group go over their plans and are forced to wrap up early as Cuba's military police show up.
Excellent. We got company.
Saquen los papeles. Ahora. Sal de aquí, puta capitalista. Oye, ¿de dónde tú eres? I said, where are you from?
Just be cool, Woods. Wait.
Talking to you. Police! Help! All right. Everything is ready.
Gear up, boys.
Say about the bar, Carlos. No problem. My men will dispose-
The trio is forced to fight through the streets before stealing a police vehicle and escaping. While driving the car, the player has little actual control of the vehicle, mainly just going backwards or forwards. The vehicle also has a manual gear shifter, but interestingly has no clutch pedal. As we fast forward to Fidel's compound, the Bay of Pigs has begun. Our job is to assassinate Castro. We get closer to Castro's compound, and the obsolete B-26 bombers I spoke of earlier start dropping bombs danger close to the compound with us still inside.
The B-26s, they're dropping all over the place.
Sit tight, we're gonna fight. Target should be up ahead. Roger.
Through Cuban military and our own bombings, we make it to Castro's room. Upon entry, he takes a female civilian as a human shield. Mason is able to fire his pistol, killing Castro with a shot right between the eyes. As his human shield is freed, she grabs the gun that Castro had and we are forced to kill her too. With our objective complete, we begin making our escape to the evac point in an airfield nearby. While leaving the compound, we encounter heavy resistance. At this point, I pick up a shotgun and notice that similar to World at War, the player is able to dismember their enemies again. Back in 2010, I remember feeling like this game was a graphical downgrade from its predecessor, Modern Warfare 2. But going back and playing it now, I feel like these games were just two different art styles. While Modern Warfare 2's colors were very bright and saturated, Black Ops went with a more brown-based color palette, with everything looking more gritty. One definite improvement I noticed was the lighting effects, and a definite downgrade was any fire effects. The napalm strikes and vehicle explosions have a very flat, almost 2D looking fire effect. As we arrive at the airfield, it becomes clear that the Bay of Pigs was a failure. Through heavy opposition, we arrive at our escape vehicle, a C-130. We are given an M60 kitted with explosive rounds and are tasked with covering the escape. During this portion, the player actually has infinite health and cannot be killed.
Give us cover, Mason!
What? We got him trapped! Those fucking vehicles are blocking the right way!
I hear you, Bowman.
There's not enough time for takeoff!
I'll deal with it. Mason! Please, crazy! Capture you up out there! Mason, what are you doing?
Moving down the runway, we leave the plane to use a nearby AA gun to clear the vehicles blocking the C-130 from having enough room to take off.
Damn you, Mason!
No choice, Woods. I knew what I signed up for.
We sacrificed ourselves to ensure Woods Bowman could escape. As the plane flies away, we are pulled off the gun by a noticeable white man and knocked unconscious by a Cuban soldier. We wake up confused to see Fidel still alive, talking to two men, one of them being the man who pulled us off the gun earlier. Castro tells us we merely killed a double, and that he was aware of the plan all along.
Do with him what you wish, General. He's my gift to you, in honor of our new relationship. Just make sure that he suffers.
He will know suffering beyond his darkest fears. I have plans for you, American.
Dragovich forebodingly tells us that he has plans for us.
They knew we were coming.
In the present, we recount to our interrogators that Dragovich, the Russian, was behind everything. He shipped us off to a Russian labor camp known as Vorkuta.
Russia. A labor camp. Oh, a hellhole called Vorkuta.
The Shadows ask us what they did to us in Vorkuta, and Mason answers,
What didn't they do?
Our interrogators seem really interested in what specifically the Russians did to us in Vorkuta. Mason recounts he had given up hope, but that Viktor Reznov had found a way. Now, for those of you familiar with the series, or if you watched my World at War video, you would recognize the name Viktor Reznov as a Russian ally from Treyarch's World at War. He makes his second series appearance in Black Ops 1 as a Russian soldier betrayed by his own country after World War II. The mission begins with another flashback. Mason and Reznov are fighting in order to distract one of the guards nearby. I really enjoy the stylistic choice of the freeze frames, but still keeping the lighting effects moving. As our Russian jailer moves towards us, Reznov antagonizes him by talking some shit.
You hit like a child!
Hey, сволочь!
As the jailer begins wailing on Reznov, we pick up a nearby rock and put down the attacker. This was all a part of Reznov's plan. Step 1 was to secure the keys from the guard. The next step is to ascend from darkness and escape these tunnels.
Mason, every journey begins with a single step.
This is step 1! Secure the keys! No! We take...
The entire prison at this point is in rebellion, and as we make it to the elevator, we meet Sergei, a man reminiscent of the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Allow me to introduce Sergei Kozlov, the monster of Megadon.
As the elevator opens, he uses a pickaxe to give this man a back adjustment, and we are glad that he's on our side. As we finally make it outside, a lot of our comrades are gunned down from soldiers in the guard towers. To advance, we cover Sergei and Reznov who are pushing a coal cart forward. As we get near the end of the track, an improvised explosive device created by Mason is launched at the tower and explodes it, allowing the prisoners to push forward.
We will not pause! We will not fall!
The crew make it to a building with an arms locker which Sergei is ordered to break open. As that's happening, Mason goes upstairs to destroy more guard towers with the improvised explosives. As Mason is doing this, Reznov speaks over the PA to rally the prisoners. After this, Sergei has opened the arms locker and we all receive shotguns for his effort. We shoot the lock off a fence and move forwards with the plan. An attack helicopter is nearby, and we must skewer the winged beast with a shotgun fitted to fire a harpoon.
Choose your moment! Grab the harpoon!
Once the aircraft is skewered, it loses control and crashes into some tanks nearby. With this complete, we move in and begin clearing a nearby warehouse. I remember this part being a pain on veteran difficulty when I was younger, due to the amount of enemies placed throughout. As we move upstairs, a large shutter door begins closing, which Sergei gets underneath and tries to hold open. Mason gets under the door just in time, but not quick enough to save Sergei from being shot. We open the door to allow our comrades in and find an armory sealed shut upstairs. Reznov will need cover and a nearby blowtorch to open this door so we can wield a fist of iron. Once Reznov gets the blowtorch, enemies in armor begin showing up.
Out my way, son! Don't stop!
Once Reznov finishes opening the door, we're able to wield a fist of iron, which is a death machine minigun, and we use it to raise hell. We push forwards through the compound, easily destroying enemy convoys and soldiers alike. Upon reaching an open courtyard, the guards use tear gas, which incapacitates Mason. He is pulled to safety by Reznov, and we awaken a garage with a couple of motorcycles for us to escape with.
We'll not hold them forever. We do not have much time. Within this shrine, to the hypocritical decadence of Vorkuter's leaders, lays the key to step 8.
Freedom.
We drive on a ramp out of the building and begin our best cosplay as the Terminator from Judgment Day. While driving towards a train, we encounter heavy resistance and end up switching vehicles from bikes to a flatbed truck. Reznov drives the truck as we control a mounted machine gun on the back.
Keep on it! Yeah!
Eventually, we get close enough to the train to jump for it.
Go, Mason! Go!
As we hold on to the train, we yell for Reznov that it's his turn.
Come on! Step 8, Reznov! Freedom!
For you, Mason! Not for me!
Reznov!
Now, for only being the second mission of the game, this is a very plot-dense and action-packed mission. Despite this, I remember not really caring for this mission when I was younger. I don't know if it's the bland color palette used for the location or what, but just something about this mission is just not very memorable. Lots of critical things happen in this mission, and included the infamous steps to freedom that would be utilized in another game in the series, but I just don't really like it. Let me know if this is a hot take or not. With Mason successfully escaping Vorkuta unharmed, he reports back to the CIA under the control of Jason Hudson. Our interrogators ask us how we could be trusted knowing that we worked together with the communists to escape Vorkuta. We tell him that Reznov was a friend, but he didn't make it out. We had been tested by the US government and deemed fit to return to active duty. Mason states that the US wanted him to kill Dragovich, and that there were others he was supposed to kill.
Your convoy's ready, sir. Welcome to the Pentagon. We're late.
During the flashback, we fly in near DC and are picked up by the Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara.
Secretary McNamara?
Your reputation precedes you, sir.
Step on it.
Is at stake. He has no fear, no conscience, no weakness.
As we drive towards the Pentagon, McNamara hands us a folder with Dragovich's picture, stating how much of a threat he is to national security. Mason's only response is,
"When do I kill him?"
We're lucky to have you back, Mason.
One thing I really appreciate about this mission specifically is that its bones is just a walking simulator. But to prevent this from being boring, they choose to cut away to different camera angles, and sometimes have multiple angles and slow motion camera pans.
Distinguished heroes.
We move through the Pentagon, with McNamara giving clearance codes to certain checkpoints along the way. We pass through a hall of distinguished heroes, with one of them being the Sergeant Roebuck from World at War, and another mentioning Private Miller from the same game.
VIPs.
At the end of the hallway is an elevator that takes us to the nerve center of the Pentagon. McNamara states that civilization on more than one instance has been saved by this very room. As we move through the nerve center, Mason begins hallucinating, starting to hear and see numbers. These numbers, when translated, read "proceed to target." Mason tells his interrogators that it felt like he was in a dream and begins recounting the steps to break out of Vorkuta. The interrogators tell Mason that he was getting closer to his objective and that it was working. We move towards an inner sanctum that McNamara comments is seldom used. Hudson cannot stay with us due to him not having clearance. As he leaves the room, it becomes clear that we're sharing the sanctum with the President, John F. Kennedy.
Mr. President?
Agent Mason.
Great honor, Mr. President.
Sit.
As he walks towards us, time slows down and we begin hallucinating. The screen behind the President shows real-life images of his assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, and images of Kennedy's own funeral.
We are in grave danger from the communists.
Time snaps back as Kennedy begins his speech to Mason. Upon Kennedy mentioning Dragovich by name, we hallucinate pulling a pistol and pointing it at Kennedy.
Dragovich.
Before snapping back to reality and listening to the rest of his speech.
I'm told that you are the very best that we have. Anywhere. You will need to be. Mr. Mason, take care of it.
Although this mission has no combat, it's full of Easter eggs and secrets. Towards the beginning of the mission, when walking through the front area, a woman can be seen locking eye contact with Mason. If the player looks at her, time will slow down as she looks us up and down. Now, according to the computer I mentioned earlier, this woman's name was Sarah Leary, and she was set up to go on a date with Mason by Weaver, a man we will meet shortly. Apparently, it didn't work out because all Mason could talk about during the date were numbers and nonsense.
I can't believe I let you talk me into drinks with that psycho Alex Mason. All night, it was Dragovich this and Reznov that. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, like he was completely cuckoo. If I didn't know any better, I'd think the guy was a communist sympathizer or a complete schizo. He needs professional help, not a date. I appreciate your trying to help out a friend, but don't do it at my expense.
Also during the mission, the clearance codes given by McNamara are from Shakespeare's The Tempest, and interestingly, one of the core themes of The Tempest is freedom. At the start of the mission, we see that the agency official who polygraph tested Mason goes by the initials C. Miller, which could be the same character as the protagonist of the Marine Raiders in World at War. Mason's first mission after returning to Op-40 was to infiltrate a Russian cosmodrome in Baikonur and ensure the sabotage of Soyuz 2, along with crippling Russia's space program and long-range missile capabilities. At the start of the mission, Woods and Mason make their stealthy approach, as Woods notices too much activity and suspects something's gone wrong.
No, something's wrong. There's way too much activity. Yankee 1-3, report. Weaver's gone dark.
He attempts to contact their inside agent, Weaver, who doesn't answer. It's soon shown that Weaver has blown his cover, and one of the men named Kravchenko is ordering us to surrender to save him. Kravchenko is Dragovich's second in command, and is one of the two men we saw talking to Castro earlier in the game. We do not surrender, and Kravchenko gives Weaver a cool new eye patch.
Son of a bitch! This is clear. Are you in position? Roger.
We move up and stealthily eliminate 2 Russian patrols and take their outfits to blend in. The rest of Op-40 groups up together undercover and moves towards the comms building. Once we take the comms building, our mission is to save Weaver in the building to the south. We're armed with a crossbow equipped with explosive bolts, which we use to destroy enemy vehicles and give our teammates on the ground cover. To ensure we get to Weaver in time, we shoot a zipline into the building and crash through a window moments before his execution.
Weaver!
We untie him and he decides to continue on the mission despite his injuries. We return to the present as our interrogators ask us,
You saved his life. Now you had to locate the Ascension group and kill the scientists.
No. I had to kill Dragovich.
We have to destroy the rocket, no matter what.
As the group moves deeper onto the base, Soyuz 2 begins its launch sequence. Weaver is unable to stop it with conventional controls, so Mason fires a guided Valkyrie missile and blows up the entire thing.
Blow it, Mason! Now!
Oh, shit! It's a hell of a way to test the prototype.
Fucking A.
As debris from the explosion starts raining down, the group makes their way into the tunnels.
We're here to hunt them down.
The player eliminates the rest of the Russian forces and scientists they can find. The mission ends as we reach the end of a hallway, and Mason begins telling the interrogators that Kravchenko got away and that they blew up Dragovich's limo, but they did not confirm the kill.
Stay with me, Mason.
Kravchenko escaped before we could get to him.
You were getting close. Dragovich was there, wasn't he?
We searched the whole base. Couldn't find the bastard
This is a
anywhere.
waste of time. He's delusional.
But then we ran into Dragovich's limo. I had him.
Satisfied, Mason?
No, not yet. Not until I see the body.
Dragovich, did you confirm the kill?
Although he was officially declared dead, Mason became obsessed and was convinced Dragovich was still alive. Mason recounts his next mission was to assist the SOG unit in Vietnam, along with Frank Woods and Hudson. The unit was in Vietnam to keep an eye on Soviet activity in the area. The mission opens up with a fade from white, accompanied by the CCR track Fortunate Son, just to really make sure that you know we're in Vietnam.
Mason!
Woods, you look like hammered shit.
So tough for shit in the jungle. It's nah, baby.
It's good to see you.
Woods warmly greets Mason but coldly treats Hudson, almost distrustingly. As they are driving and talking, the base comes under attack by the NVA. The driver loses control of the vehicle and all the passengers are ejected. Hudson is knocked unconscious but pulled to safety by Mason. The interrogators tell us our mission was to get to Hue City, but that we all stayed behind to help prevent Khe Sanh from being overrun. Woods saw that the base needed their help, and that's what they did. As we push through the base helping defend, it seems although there is an infinite amount of North Vietnamese soldiers. The final part of the mission has the player defending the base with a tow missile launcher mounted on a jeep. Once this is complete, Hudson says it's over, to which Woods states no, this is the start of something else. Bowman then lands from a chopper and greets Mason the same way Mason greeted Woods. Hudson tries to introduce himself but is also given the cold shoulder by Bowman.
Bowman!
You look like hammered shit, Mason.
The Nam will do that to you.
Good to see you, Alex.
Jason Hudson, CIA. We're here to talk about your encounter with Russians in Laos. We got word a defector might be in play.
Dragovich, everything.
In the intro for the next mission, our interrogators tell us that this offensive push by North Vietnam was the beginning of the end for the Vietnam War, where America really started losing. The violence spread to many of Vietnam's cities, including Hue City. This city was a location for a Russian defector that had info on Dragovich. Mason and the team went in to secure the defector and the dossier, to which the interrogators grill him as to why. Their intel said it was a lost cause and that Mason went in anyway. Through a flashback seen through Mason's eyes, we see his truth of what happened. The team is flown over Hue City where the pilot comments that they're flying into deep shit. Mason holds out hope that the defector is still alive and may be held up in the MACV safe room. As we rappel down from the chopper, it is shot down. We're able to swing into the building as the chopper crashes. Woods defends us as we get our footing.
Lima 9, Hotel 6 is gone.
Here, Smash 12, hold your incendiaries. Where we heading, Mason?
He throws us a shotgun which we equip our incendiary shells into, called Dragon's Breath. As we push through the building looking for the defector, Woods and Bowman express doubts that he's alive. The player needs to watch his fire here, as it's easy to shoot civilians fleeing or hiding, especially with the incendiary rounds. Like right here, I really don't understand which civilian I shot, but the game failed me anyway.
What did I do? What did I do?
We reach the bunker with no defector in sight, but Mason doesn't give up hope. He says the group needs to push forwards toward the command room next. As we breach the supposed safe room, we're ambushed by a North Vietnamese soldier. As we struggle against each other, he is stabbed in the back by none other than Reznov. He apparently was the Russian defector, not this dead guy over here. The dossier the defector has for us contains info that Dragovich is still alive and is planning an attack on U.S. soil. The group, now along with Reznov, push out of the building into the streets, encountering heavy resistance. We take a soldier's radio and are now able to designate targets for a friendly chopper to soften up. Our only goal is to escape to a rally point near the river. As we secure the landing zone, one helicopter lands and Woods says there's our ride, but turns out this heli is to evacuate the wounded first. So the player and the group set up defensive positions until more evac choppers can arrive. As the North Vietnamese forces move on the city, it's at this point I notice that Reznov has God mode enabled, and you can shoot him as much as you like and he won't react or get hurt. Woods asks where the evac is, to which command states there are no available choppers due to everyone trying to get out of the city.
Where's that damn evac? This city's falling to the NVA. They're picking up birds right out of the sky. You're not the only ones trying to get out. We have a priority 1 package to extract. We need that evac. We'll find another way. Hold your position.
Instead of a chopper, our evac is a boat. We mark the area for a bombing run as we narrowly escape. Reznov comments that the NVA's courage may be due to their newfound Russian ally.
The enemy's courage could be the result of their newfound ally.
Mason hears numbers as the mission fades to black. The dossier retrieved in the previous mission details all of Dragovich's crew, with the next target for us being the scientist who helped formulate Nova 6, a man named Daniel Clark, hiding somewhere in Kowloon. The interrogators ask us for info on this man, to which Mason states that this was Hudson's mission. As the mission begins, we take control of Hudson, who is partnered with Weaver, interrogating Dr. Clark. He is being stubborn, so we break a window and put glass in his mouth before punching him in the jaw. This scene here is very reminiscent of a similar scene in the movie The Dogs of War.
Do this all day. We got plenty of windows.
Eventually, Clark states that if we found him so easily, Dragovich's men can't be far behind. Dragovich is tying up loose ends, and Clark is one of them. We then begin working with Clark trying to escape. This mission has one of the best Easter eggs. If you blow up all these Nova 6 containers in the beginning, and hold X to retrieve this tape, you can then insert the tape in a hidden weapons room later in the level, and receive the zombie-specific Thunder Gun. One difference being you can manually reload this version, while in Zombies you have to empty the magazine to reload. This entire mission feels like it could be a John Woo movie, with the slow motion Hong Kong action cinema vibes going on. As we make it towards the end of the level, the crew makes a big jump to which Clark nearly falls to his death. Hudson grabs his hand and Clark begins telling us what the numbers mean.
I got you! What about the numbers, Clark? Oh, yes!
Just before he's able to tell us what we need, he's shot through the head. We drop his body and continue our escape. The critical information we did receive was Dragovich's base is located in Mount Yamantau, Russia, and that we're looking for a man named Friedrich Steiner. We hear some of Steiner's backstory in the next mission, a flashback within a flashback. During Mason and Reznov's imprisonment together, Reznov told a story of Kravchenko and Dragovich working with Nazis to further their goals. The flashback puts us in control of Reznov, and we are with one of our comrades, Dmitry Petrenko, the player's character from World at War. We are in the Arctic Circle, looking for the man Friedrich Steiner. As we drive towards the Nazi base, we tell Dmitry that Dragovich and Kravchenko had previously abandoned us in Stalingrad, and to not trust either of them. Reznov tells us that Dmitry should have received a hero's welcome upon return to Russia, but that Stalin had no need for heroes. This sentiment is also what he told Dmitry at the end of World at War.
As long as you live, the heart of this army can never be broken.
Things will change, my friend. As heroes, we will return to Russia's embrace.
As we make our assault on the Nazi base, we take no prisoners in search of Steiner. Finally, we find him arrogantly kicked back in a chair. He orders us to bring him to Dragovich. Reznov fought his instincts to put a bullet in Steiner's head right then and there. Steiner informs Dragovich of something valuable on a wrecked ship nearby, so Reznov and his comrades move in to secure it. The German-developed Nova 6 was now in Russia's hands thanks to Steiner. Dragovich wanted to see the effects of the poison firsthand, and Reznov along with his comrades were the perfect test subjects.
Our victory was to be short-lived. Dmitry Konchenko was a hero. He deserved a hero's death. Instead of giving his life for the glory of the motherland, he died for nothing. Like an animal. He should have died in Berlin. As I watched my closest friend die, it became clear we were not the only ones seeking the German weapons. The Western allies circled like vultures.
After watching Dmitry die, we await our turn to be killed by the Nova 6. Before this can happen, British soldiers assault the ship to capture the German weaponry. In the ensuing battle between the Russians and the British, we arm explosives on a V-2 rocket to blow up what's left of the ship. After arming the explosives, we make our escape off the boat on foot. Reznov believes he had destroyed Nova 6, but only learns after his capture and imprisonment in Vorkuta that the ordeal was far from over. Reznov tells Mason that Kravchenko, Dragovich, and Steiner, they all must die.
Dragovich, Kravchenko, Steiner. These men must die.
Reznov still with you after you escaped from the
Our interrogators ask us to go back to Vietnam. They ask us if Reznov was still with us after escaping Way City. Mason recounts that the team had gone north until their chopper was shot down, which Reznov also survived. Mason says that Kravchenko was there and that he knew the Americans were coming. The flashback begins with Mason and Woods in the downed chopper, still disoriented from the crash. We eliminate 2 Viet Cong soldiers just before the chopper sinks underwater.
Kill those bastards. We gotta get out of here. This thing's my... We're going under, Mason.
As we struggle to get the side door open, Reznov appears on the other side to help us pry the door open. Mason hears numbers as Reznov appears.
21, 10, 16, 23, 4, 22, 21.
Our mission is now to eliminate the Viet Cong in this village and destroy a ZPU on the river. Once this is complete, Mason volunteers to clear out a nearby rat tunnel with his teammate Swift.
Lima 9, this is X-Ray. Prep for recon sweep, 3K radius.
Here, take this. Stay on it. We'll find your Kravchenko. We'll make it out of there alive.
Bowman, point. Let's move.
During this, Mason once again encounters Reznov. While Mason is talking to Reznov, his teammate Swift has no light to see what's in front of him and tells Mason,
"What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Shortly after this, Swift gets killed by a Viet Cong hiding in the tunnel, and now it's just Mason and Reznov. At the end of the tunnel, we find Kravchenko's bunker. There are recordings and documents showing the effects of Nova 6. We gather the documents and make our escape. But as we open the door, we discover that the bunker and tunnels were rigged to explode. We barely make it to an exit where we must dig ourselves out before the explosion buries us.
Shit!
Woods and Bowman show up in a chopper, and once again we... We found intel in Kravchenko's bunker that he is operating in a compound near Laos. Our interrogators tell us that Reznov can't be trusted and that we've been brainwashed. That's why we keep hearing the numbers in our head. Mason tells them that Reznov is our friend. The Shadow tells us to forget about Reznov and focus on the fact that we're on the brink of war.
Forget Reznov! Focus, Mason! We're out of fucking time! The world is on the fucking brink of war!
Whose war? Who the fuck are you anyway? Huh? God, I just keep hearing the fucking numbers.
It's a broadcast, Mason. The numbers are a broadcast. You've been brainwashed.
21, 15.
Our interrogators tell us to focus on what happened in Laos. The CIA sent Mason and the rest of SOG to retrieve what was left from a Soviet cargo plane that the CIA had shot down. This plane apparently had Nova 6 on board. The mission begins near a river with a boat we must use to get closer to the cargo plane. Fun fact about this mission, these flares you see on the ground are actually inside tiny little trash can models. You can see the handles if you go prone near them. Boarding the boat, a confused Marine asks us if we're SOG. Wood tells him to man the gun and don't get killed.
Man the gun, don't get killed.
Mason is the driver and begins moving down the river. As we drive, the Stones' Sympathy for the Devil begins playing. This boat is equipped with rockets and an M60, and we shred the opposition in and along the river. Reznov, Bowman, Woods, and Mason all focus fire on an NVA PT boat. After destroying the PT boat, the action dies down, and Bowman calls for a medic.
Is that all they got?
Medic!
Mason recounts that he was sure Woods was crying, but he wouldn't let his team see it. Interestingly, Bowman also signs a cross on his chest, signifying he's some sort of Christian, while his voice actor Ice Cube is actually Muslim. Back to the mission, Mason continues driving downriver and finds a downed American chopper. Woods asks what just happened here, to which a US pilot says there's nothing out here. Reznov comments that the plane must be close, with Kravchenko nearby.
The plane must be close, Mason. Kravchenko is near.
Bowman mishears Reznov, so Mason repeats that Kravchenko must be nearby. We group up with some Marines nearby and move towards the downed cargo plane. Our infantry is assisted by air support until Russian Hinds take them out of the sky. Russian snipers are also hidden up in the trees, similar to the mission Hard Landing in World at War. We clear all the enemies near the plane and make our way up the wing to get to the other side. Boarding the plane, Bowman comments what happened to these bodies. This plane was carrying Nova 6 that dispersed when it crashed, killing those on board who survived the impact. Also on board is a map of the area along with American weapons to frame this as an American chemical weapons transport. We move towards the front of the plane to defend the crash site until reinforcements arrive, and use snipers along with explosives to kill the Spetsnaz below. Eventually, the Russian Hinds come back and blow the cockpit off the downed plane with us inside of it.
Look out!
It don't. It don't go down.
It goes down.
No, it don't.
It do go down.
Oh!
We wake up confused and see two Russian soldiers carrying an unconscious Bowman away. We try to shoot them, but our pistol's out of ammo. A Spetsnaz soldier kicks the pistol away as Kravchenko and Dragovich walk up toward us. Dragovich says it's been too long and that they must make up for lost time.
Too long, Mason. We must make up for lost time.
Going back to the present, our interrogators tell us that we were captured by Dragovich for a second time. The SOG unit went MIA in Laos, presumed dead. Hudson was forced to continue the hunt for Nova 6 without them. Hudson headed for where Clark told us Dragovich's base was, Mount Yamantau, Russia, a military complex buried deep in the Ural Mountains. While at Mount Yamantau, Hudson learned of the numbers. Mason responds in disbelief that the numbers are actually real, to which the interrogators tells us we're on the brink of annihilation unless we find the broadcast station. During this next mission, we follow Hudson and his helpful eye in the sky while we see what happened at Mount Yamantau. The mission begins with the player taking control of a pilot at Beale Air Force Base in California. We board an SR-71 Blackbird and begin our flight to assist Hudson. This scene always reminded me of near where I grew up. I lived near Edwards Air Force Base, which had old SR-71s on display. While piloting the Blackbird, we use this target indicator to locate Hudson and his team. Hudson states that they have zero visibility and must rely on the pilot's guidance. We ensure the team's safety by sending them inside a house while a Russian patrol goes nearby. The patrol ends up stopping and the point of view switches to Hudson and his crew. This mission proceeds like this, with the pilot guiding Hudson safely toward the military base. Eventually, Hudson is able to disable the internal comms at the base, and the team makes their stealthy advance forward. The team rappels down to the power substation and breaches the building's windows.
Ready?
Ready when you are.
We then move to the main building at the ridge base and disable the external communications relay dish. As we leave this building, an enemy fires an RPG at the catwalk we're standing on, killing our teammate and starting an avalanche.
See on the ridge!
We lost Harris!
Avalanche!
To escape, the team runs and jumps off the mountain, having luckily brought parachutes. We land near the main base at the bottom of the ridge and see soldiers already clearing out the evidence of Nova 6. The team goes loud and advances forward onto the base. We discover that the base is rigged to blow, and as we move into a room with a map of the US, the doors close. Friedrich Steiner talks to us through an intercom. Steiner states that only he can stop Nova 6 from being released across the US, and that he is at Rebirth Island in the Aral Sea. Steiner has turned allegiance due to Dragovich killing everyone involved in Nova 6. We are now tasked with escaping the base, as the explosives are set to go off any moment and enemy Russians are all around us. Weaver is able to start a flatbed truck and get the team to safety just in time before an avalanche destroys the base.
What are we waiting for, Weaver? Whole fucking mountain's coming down!
Nearly there! Got it!
Hit it! Go! Go!
The avalanche buried the entire base, but Hudson and Weaver made it out alive. It was almost over, Mason.
Dragovich has Nova 6 ready to decimate the US, with the help of countless sleeper agents controlled by a numbers broadcast station. Our interrogators know what happens in Vorkuta, where people get programmed to translate the numbers. They ask us repeatedly where the broadcast station is, but Mason fades into a flashback from his captivity in Laos after Dragovich had captured him the second time.
Mason, you with me? Woods. Dragovich is fucking with us.
We wake up to Woods and ourselves being pulled from our wooden cages. Mason recounts that they knew that they were all fucked, and he could hear Bowman sobbing. They sit us across from Bowman at a table, where Bowman says,
Bowman!
I'm tired. I just want to end
You
this.
don't mean that, Bowman!
Fuck you, Charlie.
Bowman, don't!
You dead American! Последний шанс. Играй или умирай.
You don't scare me. Communist piece of shit.
Bowman! Bowman! You fucking son of a bitch!
Next.
I'm gonna kill you all!
Don't you touch me!
What? Shit.
After Bowman meets his end, Woods is brought in and it's clear now what this is. Russian roulette for our captor's entertainment.
No talk. Play!
What's the plan?
I'm thinking.
No talk!
One chance, Mason.
We'll take it.
Okay.
Bang! You can't kill me! You shoot, G.I. You shoot! Fuck!
Woods goes first, and luckily there's nobody home in the chamber. When it's our turn, we take our one chance to use their gun against them. During the chaos, the Russian who murdered Bowman ran toward the exit. Woods and Mason hunt him down and end him before he can escape.
Escape! Bring him down,
You're not going
Mason!
anywhere!
You got him! For Bowman!
For Bowman!
This whole scene is very similar to a shot from the 1978 film The Deer Hunter. Back to the game, we escape the tunnels and come across a Russian Hind. We kill the Vietnamese around it and hijack the chopper. What follows is a pretty fun vehicle section where we pilot the Hind and raise hell in search of Kravchenko's compound.
Fuck yeah! Payback, you sons of bitches!
Once we get close, we park the chopper and move forwards on foot into the tunnels leading into the compound. Near the front of the tunnels, there are American POWs needing rescue. As we open their cells, Reznov surprisingly walks out as we hear numbers. We push forward with Woods, Reznov, and the POWs. We move upstairs to breach a room as Kravchenko takes us by surprise.
Not this time, American. You again. I should have.
As he recognizes us and hesitates, Woods seizes the opportunity and stabs him in the side.
Got you now, you son of a bitch. You die as me. What?
With both Woods and Kravchenko presumed dead, Mason falls unconscious. He awakes to a shadow of Woods telling him he's going to be okay, who turns into Reznov asking us if we're okay.
Are you okay? Mason.
Reznov.
Kravchenko is dead. Dragovich, Kravchenko, Stein, all must die.
For God's sake, where is the number station?
Our interrogators tell us that the SOG team was all dead. Only Mason remained, to which we respond Reznov is still alive and with us. With no team behind us, we went rogue according to the interrogators, but in Mason's point of view, he was continuing the mission. Mason went to Rebirth Island against orders to kill Steiner. Mason argues that even though the US wanted Steiner alive, the numbers were overwhelming him and telling him to kill Steiner. The interrogators tell us that the world is on the brink of war. We're in the final hour and need to know where the number station is. We fade to a flashback of Rebirth Island, with Reznov accompanying us. We begin a stealthy assault on the Rebirth complex until the CIA starts their attack as well. Then we must race them to Steiner so we can kill him before they can capture him.
They've gone to full alert!
It's the CIA. They want Steiner alive.
Then we must get to him first!
Hudson attempts to contact us on our radio, but we don't answer. As we make it to Steiner's safe room, he's frantically calling for help from the CIA until we interrupt him.
Dragovich's men are rounding up everyone on the island. Those no longer essential to his plans are being executed. You must hurry before they kill me too!
Friedrich Steiner. This is the end.
I know you. Vorkuta. You don't know what we did to you.
Mason, talk to me.
Your evil has claimed the lives of many good men. No longer.
Killing me will not stop Nova.
I do not care about Nova. My name is Victor Reznov. And I will have my revenge.
In a moment of confusion, Mason says Reznov killed Steiner. But our interrogators tell us that Mason killed Steiner and that Hudson saw it. We return to Rebirth Island, but this time from Hudson's point of view. We assault the island and start a small vehicle with a mounted grenade launcher until it's destroyed by a Russian helicopter. We get ejected from the vehicle and the Russians deploy Nova 6.
Nova 6! Hazmat suits now!
Going forward, we must not take too much damage or our suit will break and the Nova 6 will kill us. This part of the mission was always really annoying to me, and I never really appreciated the gimmick. Also, the Nova 6 reduces visibility, so you're supposed to utilize thermal. It's just annoying all around. We push through the gas towards the biolab as the Nova 6 dissipates. We are in a race to extract Steiner before Mason can get to him. We reach the room adjacent to Steiner and witness this.
Damn, it's bulletproof! Mason, what are you doing? We need him alive! Stand down! Stand down!
My name is Victor Reznov, and I will have my revenge!
Mason, no!
I'm fine. Check Steiner.
He's dead.
What about Reznov, the defector? We need to find him.
We won't. He was never here. I didn't believe it till I saw it with my own eyes. What did they do to you in Vorkuta, Mason?
Steiner dead. Mason's our only link to the numbers broadcasts.
We need to bring him back.
We hear a voiceover from Reznov telling us what we've been hearing all along. Dragovich, Steiner, Kravchenko, all must die.
You've tried everything. Not yet.
The interrogators argue with each other about giving up on Mason and getting to safety. The interrogators reveal themselves as Hudson and Weaver. Weaver flees to safety as Hudson begs us to remember.
You want to die with him? Your choice.
Damn it! Why can't you remember? Reznov's dead, Mason. Did you hear me? He's dead! Weaver's right. We're out of time. The Russians fucked you up. I know you. You're not a traitor.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where do they broadcast from?
What follows this is a fever dream of a mission. Constant flashbacks and hallucinations plague Mason. We have a flashback to the brainwashing in Vorkuta.
The subject has been successfully implanted with the knowledge to translate the number sequences.
So, what is the problem?
His responses to our orders have been sporadic, unpredictable. He shows a remarkable resilience.
Why?
He is unusual, atypical. Few men possess such will. Our other test subjects have been far more successful.
If he will not follow the orders embedded in the numbers, then he is of no use to me. He can rot. Take him back to his cell.
Not the... Oh my God!
21-17.
I have to admit that the voice actor for Mason really shines during this mission, and the entire game really. As we enter a hallway, Hudson catches up to us and returns what we gave him earlier, but offers clarity of the situation.
But pain is difficult, isn't it? We are brothers, Mason. We are the same. Dragovich, Kravchenko, Steiner, all must die.
Dragovich brainwashed you, but Reznov had plans of his own.
This.
Reznov, how'd you get out of Vorkuta? Never thought I'd see you alive. He was never in Vietnam. The real defector with the Nova 6 dossier died during the attack on the MacV. He was never in the rat tunnels.
What the fuck's wrong with you? Kravchenko is here. This way. We cannot let him slip through our grasp.
He was never at Rebirth Island.
My name is Victor.
Mason!
My name is Victor Reznov, and I will have my revenge!
Mason, no!
Step 8, Reznov! Freedom! For you, Mason! Not for me!
Viktor Reznov's been dead for 5 years. He died at Vorkuta during the escape. All the years you thought he was with you, that was just in your mind.
I trusted him.
That's why it worked. It was their attempt at MK-Ultra. Dragovich programmed you to kill Kennedy, but Reznov sabotaged you. He wanted revenge for all the Dragovich done to him. Dragovich, Kravchenko, Steiner, 3 new victims. There are gaps in your memory. Periods where you went MIA and we couldn't account for you. But now that the brainwashing's been broken, all that lost time will come back. We need to leave. The Nova 6 strike is imminent. Hundreds of sleeper agents, hidden in every state capital, are about to unleash this poison on your own countrymen. When Steiner died, we lost our key to unlocking the location of number broadcasts. You were programmed at Vorkuta to translate the number codes. Only you can tell us what the codes mean. Nova 6 was just one of the sleeper operations, but I'm sure there were others, ones we didn't even know about. We have the broadcasts. We play them to you over and over again for hours, but we haven't been able to break through your programming yet. Mason, this is our last shot. Listen, for God's sake, listen again.
21-7.
As we listen to the numbers broadcast one last time, we hear Dragovich tell the sleeper agents where the broadcast station is.
All agents, our new allies in Cuba have graciously permitted the construction of a new and permanent broadcast station within their borders. From now until Project Nova's initiation, all instructions will be broadcast from the result. Our plan to strike at the very heart of the West is now in motion. Await further instructions.
Do with him what you wish, General. So it's my gift to you. In honor of our new relationship. In honor of our new relationship.
Permanent broadcast station within their borders. All instructions will be broadcast from the result.
I know where the number station is. It's a ship. I saw it a long time ago. The Rusalka.
Where?
Cuba.
This is one of the best missions in any Call of Duty, and it explains the truth. Reznov has been dead since Vorkuta, but has been influencing Mason's decisions through breaking his brainwashing at Vorkuta. Just like I said in my World at War video, Reznov is not really a hero. He's a soldier fueled by vengeance and will use anyone around him to accomplish his goals. As the world is on the brink of war, we make our assault on the Rusalka, Numbers broadcast station. We use minigun fire as well as rockets from our helicopter to attack the fortified ship, until we are forced to exit the chopper and push onto the boat on foot.
Out of the chopper, jump! Go, 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 go!
One interesting fact about this mission is that all the friendly NPCs are ranked corporal or above, reflecting the US only sending experienced soldiers on this mission. As we make our way to the bottom of the ship, we find that the true broadcast station is actually below the Rusalka. With the US Navy en route to bomb the location, we swim down to the structure beneath to finish Dragovich once and for all.
Command, this is Alpha 1. We have confirmed the Rusalka is the broadcast source. Bring in the airstrike. We're on our way out.
Not yet. We need to find Dragovich.
In less than 15 minutes, the US Navy is gonna blow this place apart.
I made the mistake of not confirming the kill 5 years ago at Baikonur.
You sure you're still not brainwashed?
Would it matter? The son of a bitch needs to go down once and for all.
Get out of here, Weaver. We're gonna finish this.
Hudson, you see the buoys?
They have to transmit from the surface. That's why we could never find the broadcast source. The structure below us. It's more than a transmitter.
It's a supply station for the Soviet submarine fleet. Part of Dragovich's plan for invasion, once the Nova 6 was released.
The US Navy begins their assault, forcing us to move quickly to find Dragovich. As we stop the transmission of the number sequence, the console explodes in front of us, knocking us off the edge. As we pull ourselves up, we see none other than Dragovich walking towards us.
You should have been my finest agent. It would have all been so much simpler.
Dragovich!
Yes! I'm gonna kill you!
trying to fuck with my mind! Fire!
You don't know anything!
As we beat and strangle Dragovich, he says the most interesting line in the game.
I can make you kill my own president! Right? Come on, Mason! Mason, this way!
With our goal complete, we make our way to the surface. While swimming, we hear Reznov tell us we did what he could not.
Mason, you did it, Mason. You did what I could not.
As we make it to the surface, we're greeted by Weaver and the entire US Navy. The screen fades to black as numbers flash on screen.
It is over. We won.
For now.
I don't know, this might be another hot take, but this mission's just kind of forgettable. Maybe it's because the mission before was so great, it just makes this one seem worse. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. One final numbers transmission plays, then we watch real life footage of John F. Kennedy.
2, 23, 1, 8, 11, 25, 22,
22.
9, 4,
6.5 millimeter.
9, 23, 1, 12, 0, 12, 16,
11, 22.
6, 12, 8, 4, 1, 6, 2, 10, 2, 1.
Texas.
We hear Mason recount some numbers, calibers, and a location. The footage then rewinds and focuses to show Mason in the crowd. Mason had recounted the date and location of Kennedy's assassination, as well as the caliber of rifle used by Lee Harvey Oswald. There's always been a conspiracy of a second shooter, and Treyarch is playing into that here. During the mission revelations, the date is shown to be 1968, 5 years after Kennedy's assassination. Mason even says during this mission, Hudson then goes on to mention that
there are gaps in your memory. Periods where you went MIA and we couldn't account for you. But now that the brainwashing's been broken, all that lost time will come back.
this, along with Dragovich's line,
I can make you kill my own president! Right?
Now with the brainwashing being broken, Hudson was right. The gaps in memory are coming back. This is why Mason sounds defeated talking during the JFK footage. He is remembering his role in the assassination of JFK. And after this, the credits roll. Replaying this game now, I can admit that it doesn't have the most memorable set pieces, and its color palette choice may not be for everyone. But I will say what more than makes up for this is the storytelling. In some ways, knowing what twist was coming made the story even more enjoyable because you pay more attention. Like whenever Reznov is present after Vorkuta, he can be shot with no penalty or reaction, and how no other character acknowledges him. Sure, some of you may have noticed these things on your first playthrough, but I sure didn't back in 2010. Also, I appreciate how much story this game offers directly to the player and indirectly through things like Intel and the computer I spoke of earlier. This computer has so many cool things hidden away, like personal emails you can read from people in the CIA. You can unlock all campaign levels and zombies levels, and you can play a text-based adventure game titled Zork, where you can get eaten by a Gru. Seriously, the amount of lore and secrets contained in this terminal are immense. And apparently, some of the secrets haven't been solved to this day. The way the campaign weaved its story into the non-fiction setting is just perfect, and I've only come to appreciate it more as I've gotten older. Maybe it's because I'm more aware of history now than I was as a teenager, and pick up more references than I did back in the day. But something about this campaign still makes it feel great to play today. Once the campaign credits finish rolling, we're thrown into a zombies game. This map is the first to feature real-life characters, with Nixon, Kennedy, McNamara, and Castro inside the Pentagon. Zombies have broken in, and we must hold them off while navigating tight indoor spaces. I won't be going over zombie specific storyline related things in this video because it's already long enough, but I do have plans to make a zombie specific video discussing the entire zombie storyline. In this video, I will just be talking about the on-disc maps included and any changes brought to the game as a whole. 5 was a tough map. There was no good spots to train and no get out of jail free card wonder weapon. Also, the dog round on this map was replaced by a mad scientist who steals your guns. On top of that, this map had teleporters that moved you around to random spots on the map, often hurting more than helping. The perk selection on this map is the same as we've seen before, but Quick Revive now works in solo, reviving the player once they go down, and it can only be used 3 times before disappearing. Due to the difficulty, this map isn't very fondly remembered, but I have some good memories of this map, like shooting off certain pieces of glass on the starting windows to build boards in a certain way so you can jump on them and then get on this table in the middle and be safe from the zombies. I'm pretty sure this has been patched by now. The other main zombies map on disc is Kino der Toten, a more standard zombies map that pushes the main storyline forward. This map was more open and introduced the Thunder Gun, debatably one of the best wonder weapons in zombies. I remember this map being a turning point in the community, where the focus shifted from a good camping spot to being effective at training the zombies in a circular area. The final zombies map, or mode I should say, was Dead Ops Arcade, unlocked through the computer in the interrogation room. This mode was a twin-stick top-down arcade shooter that is way more fun than it has any right to be. Speed boosts, nukes, and infinite ammo, the mode shares nothing in common with the other zombies maps. The player uses various power-ups and weapons and receives treasure that increase the score multiplier. Every 200,000 points, you earn an extra life, so keeping this multiplier up by not dying is key. In general, you die in one hit in this mode, so staying alive is easier said than done. Somewhere around round 20, you get a permanent upgrade from the Room of Fate, and if you don't get the permanent speed upgrade, you aren't going to make it far. I've wasted so much time on this mode. It's one of my favorite things to come back and play to this day. Finally, the part of the video most of you are probably looking forward to. Black Ops multiplayer made changes that proved itself unique to what came before it. The skeleton of the multiplayer is the same with 3 perks, equipment, a primary, and a secondary, but the game design around these was totally different than its predecessors. One of the most influential decisions was removing stopping power as a perk. This gave the player more freedom, allowing them not to have to pick stopping power in their perk 2 slot. Also new was the player's first perk defining their outfit, not their weapons. This made it possible to see at a glance what first perk the enemy was using, like Flak Jacket or Ghost. Due to noob tubing and sniping being so powerful in Modern Warfare 2, sniping was severely nerfed in this game, along with Flak Jacket making noob tubes pretty much useless. The idle sway and initial scope and inaccuracy of snipers made quick scoping a pain to pull off. Weapon balancing. This was something unique and in my opinion better about the older Call of Duties. It wasn't like today where every other week a gun was buffed or nerfed. Weapons had to be severely out of hand for the devs to release a weapon balance patch, which made them few and far between. Even though this game was really assault rifle dominated, you can use any gun you like and do well. Unlike today where you have no chance if you're not using top tier guns. The maps included on disc had some of the best maps ever made, like Nuketown, Firing Range, and Summit. One of my favorite new additions was the 8 kill streak, the SR-71 Blackbird. A permanent UAV that showed enemy location, direction, and didn't give a fuck if they had Ghost. This kill streak was so OP that if one person got one, you can guarantee another one would follow it. Not to mention this streak was usually followed by chopper gunners and dogs. Another new addition was lobby leaderboards. In the pregame lobby, you could view all the players in your lobby stats and recent games. This would tell you what players to watch out for specifically and their play style based off of objective play and score per minute. Low score per minute and high KD usually meant these players would set up tents and camp. A low KD with a high score per minute and good objective play was usually the guy dying on B flag 12 times in order to cap it. I remember using this more to judge players on my team so I could know how sweaty I needed to play. This feature would be great in today's Call of Duties so I could verify that skill-based matchmaking actually means putting all the Timmy No Thumbs on my team, making my experience horrible. After each match you would earn XP as well as COD points. No, not those, the original COD points. With these points you could choose what guns and attachments to unlock in any order you prefer. Guns still had a level requirement, but as soon as you could unlock them, you could put any attachments on them you can afford. You could also make custom emblems in this game, using decals bought with COD points. But nowadays, the player-created emblems are interesting to say the least. If you wanted to wager your COD points, you can enter a playlist of free-for-all party games, where everyone wagers their COD points that they were placed in the top 3. The other 5 players get nothing but a negative hit to their COD points balance. Sticks and Stones, One in the Chamber, and Gun Game were all incredibly fun modes that never had a dull moment. And say you hit the best tomahawk of your life in Sticks and Stones, Well, instead of just bragging about it to your friends, you could show them with the introduction of Theater Mode. Theater Mode allowed you to replay a video recording of public matches and record special moments from anybody's point of view in the match, or even free cam. There did also exist a way to upload these recordings directly to YouTube, but I believe this feature is long gone now. Check out some of these clips that I uploaded way back in 2011. This truly was groundbreaking for the series, and I wish more clips I had saved in my theater were still available today. All in all, Black Ops Multiplayer did so much to set itself apart from what came before it without feeling alien to the series, and the new things added felt like they should have been part of the series already. For this gameplay, I've been playing backwards compatible on the Series X. I never had a problem with any hackers, but the lag was terrible in some matches, most likely due to a low player count. This game still used client-side servers, so every player connects to one player who is the host of the match. Even sometimes when the game showed a 4-bar connection, the hit detection was too laggy to enjoy. And when you're lucky enough to be the host, the advantage you get is extremely noticeable. While finding matches did take some time, I was usually able to find a match and even some DLC matches. The only game modes I was able to play were TDM and Hardcore TDM. Back in the day, my favorite class was the FAMAS Dual Mag with Hardline, Sleight of Hand, and Ninja. This class still stomps to this day and it might even be considered sweaty. Man, the memories of using this class and stomping Christmas noobs on Nuketown are just priceless. This game was just something special and unique, and deserves all the recognition it receives. The memories I get when I go back and play this game really take me back to how simple my life used to be, and how simple and fun these games used to be. One of my favorite things about making this video was the intro I put together. I cut and edited 3 different Black Ops 1 trailers with footage from the Black Ops event in Warzone, along with syncing it to the song Painted Black by the Rolling Stones, and adding my own sound effects. Going back and rewatching these old trailers for the game really brought on the nostalgia and memories of being really excited for this game to come out. Black Ops 1 is sometimes overshadowed by its older brother Black Ops 2, which I can understand, but really going back and playing this game, Treyarch did the impossible. They created a unique, memorable follow-up to the biggest game ever at that point, and I commend them for it. Black Ops 1 deserves to be praised just for the legacy it left and impact felt to this day. Treyarch will be releasing their next Black Ops installment this year, 2024. And let's hope they go back to basics and release something like the original Black Ops, because Black Ops 1 is a game worth remembering. Thank you for watching.